At the same time, as we've teased so many times so far, Donald Trump finally is gloves off on Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Broke over the weekend from Donald Trump's Truth. Quote, Vivek started his campaign as a great supporter, the best president in generations. Unfortunately, now all he does is disguise his support in the form of deceitful campaign tricks. Very sly, but a vote for Vivek is a vote for the other side. Don't get duped by this. Vote for Trump. Don't waste your vote. Vivek is not MAGA. The Biden indictments against his political opponent, all capitalized for no reason, will never be allowed in this country. They are already beginning to fall. MAGA. Okay, so making the case there that Vivek is a vote for the other side. So how does Vivek handle this? He basically has kept saying Donald Trump is the best president of my lifetime. I'm running actually to defend Trump because I'm the one that can get it done. He put out a very, very long message on Twitter. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. He says, yes, I saw President Trump's Truth Social post. It's an unfortunate move by his campaign advisors. I don't think, everything is never Trump's fault. It's always his campaign advisors. I don't think friendly fire is helpful. Donald Trump was the greatest president of the 21st century. I'm not going to criticize him in response to this latest attack. Then he goes on, I've met thousands of Iowans, but here is a little bit of his message. I'm worried for Trump. I'm worried for our country. I've stood up against the prosecutions of Trump. I've defended him at every step. I showed up at the Miami courthouse, etc., etc. I pledged myself to remove from Maine and Colorado ballots if they remove Trump, but we have to open our eyes. Last time it was a man-made pandemic, big tech election interference. Now, the same billionaires funding the lawsuits against Trump are the ones trying to prop up Nikki Haley. The same MSM blasting Trump is lavishing praise on her. They want to narrow this to a two-horse race between Trump and Haley and eliminate Trump one way or the other and trot out their puppet into the White House. We cannot fall for that trap. 1 year from now, we won't look back and say we were shocked that it happened. We'll kick ourselves for not stopping it. Our movement must live on, etc., etc. I mean, it basically just comes and boils down to this, which is it's a very nice way of saying, I like Trump, all you people who support him, but he's too dumb to actually do any of the things that he said he was going to do, and I'm the person that can get it done. Compelling message, one that appeals, though, to only someone who thinks that Trump doesn't have the requisite skills to pull off what he does want to do, whereas the vast majority of Republican voters are like, no, actually, I'm totally cool with Trump. I believe in Trump. I think he can do whatever he is promising me. So part of the reason why Vivek has had a problem getting to the high-level traction that we originally saw some flirtation with him, and just in general why Vivek proving that you can be anti-Trump as Haley was, you can be pro-Trump as Vivek was, you can be everything in between for all of these people, but if you're not named Trump, you're just probably not going to win this primary.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I think this is a really embarrassing message. To be like, to try to persuade voters that the way to help Trump is to vote against Trump. Who's going to buy that?
I mean, people are smart.
Like, it doesn't make any sense, you know? And so Vivek has this whole conspiracy that he lays out of like, they want to narrow it to a two-person race, and then somehow something's going to happen that's going to remove Trump from the race, and then they're going to trot Nikki Haley into the White House. And so I'm helping Trump. I'm helping to save Trump by having you vote against Trump. And so, in a sense, I mean, what Trump said there, if this is effectively like a sly campaign trick, I mean, I think that's basically accurate.
I think he is right.
It's basically accurate. That's true. Vivek is trying to posture like, I am even more pro-Trump than Trump himself is, and that the way to support Trump the hardest and be the biggest MAGA supporter is to vote against Trump and vote for me. And obviously that argument's not going to win the day. Now, look, as we said before, do I think he can maybe get to 10% in the Iowa caucuses? Maybe. But all of these candidates, maybe no one more than Vivek Ramaswamy, really bet on if Trump is out of the race, then I've got a lane, then I've got a shot. And especially because the people who like Vivek are basically just Trump supporters. Like, there's very few people who are Vivek #1 and Trump #2. Most people are Trump #1, and then a good number of them are Vivek #2. But if Trump is in the race, like, your whole theory here doesn't really pan out. So this jujitsu move that he's trying to pull of, like, the way to be the most pro-MAGA is to actually vote against Donald Trump, I don't think that's going to work out too well.
The only way it works, Krystal, is if Trump literally ends up in prison or disqualified by SCOTUS, you know, to not run. Then maybe, look, maybe it was a smart strategy. But in the interim, where you can't really bet on something like that, it's just not going to work. We see there's an interesting, there's video that's come out from Vivek on the ground in Iowa. This is actually being put out by the Trump people, not Trump campaign per itself, kind of showing the way that he's making his pitch to Trump voters themselves. pay very close attention to his language, to the way that he tries to convince this Trump voter to switch over to vote for him. Let's take a listen.
They're scared of you. Just
They are.
They're scared of Trump.
Oh,
they are scared.
And they will stop at nothing, but we're not going to let them get away with it. I've got fresh legs. I'm not wounded. And
That's
they're not going to
true.
let this man do it.
You know, when you
This
said
is why I gotta
eliminate,
win.
that gave me a chill. But because I'm scared.
Because you think it's false or because you think it's true?
I think it's true. I think they will stop at
It is-
nothing to stop them. Stop Trump.
It's sad, but it's the truth. It's the sad, but it's the truth. So I'm
But
asking you, do
that's-
your part, and we're going to.
You know, when I
We can do
these
this.
polls,
We
when
can
I
do
this
this.
poll,
Yeah.
They say, how do you feel about the United States? And I say, I'm worried and I'm fearful.
My job that you don't have to feel that way in this country.
But we're losing it. We need people like you. Young,
We're going to do this.
vibrant.
And that's what our founding fathers were.
Yes.
It's 1776 moment. So I want your support at that Iowa caucus.
And I get emotional.
I'm emotional about this country. I need your support on Monday night. You do this, I'm going to do my part.
Okay, you're picking at my shell. You are.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've got
It's about this country. It's about this country. You want to save Trump, you vote for me. I'm telling you
Yeah.
that. You vote for Trump. You're sending
He's
him
a sledgehammer.
No, but you're sending him to his own demise. You're falling into the trap that not only a country's falling in, that he's falling. You want to save Trump, you vote for me. I need your support at the Iowa caucus.
That's a good argument. That's a good argument.
It's not an argument, it's the truth. Do the right thing for him and for this country. That's what I'm asking you for.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work out. It was took him over a minute in order to. Did she get convinced? What do you think? Did she come away saying
The fact that
she
she's
was gonna
saying the
support him?
candidate to his
Yeah.
face, like maybe, means
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
That means no.
See, you run for office. I have not.
No, even
Yeah.
if the person says, I am 100% with you,
Uh-huh.
discount 50% of those even. But the one that's like, yeah, maybe I'll consider it. No,
Okay.
they are not voting for you. But I mean, this, again, to save Trump, vote for me. Who's buying that? It's silly. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing to make that case. And I go back to what James was saying, which I think was very astute analysis of effectively like, listen, Republican voters, they see Trump as the incumbent. They see him as the default. And so if you aren't making a very, very, very compelling case to move them off of Trump to you, not for some elaborate conspiratorial argument, confusing 4D chess argument about how really by voting against Trump, you're saving Trump, et cetera. If you aren't making a straightforward, compelling case of why you need to move on for Donald Trump, it's not going to work out. And here's the other thing with Vivek that I also want to say is like, this man has really changed his colors too, to suit what he thinks is like where he should be, both for this campaign, but also for whatever like potential media opportunities he wants for the future. You know, right after January 6th, he said that he cried when he watched what happened on January 6th. And then this year he's like tweeting out Happy Entrapment Day. So the way, what he said in his book, very different from the way he's positioned himself in this campaign, et cetera. You know, his whole book also was about like anti-wokeness and ESG. The moment he realized that that wasn't really selling, he shifts messages again. So I also think there is a little bit with voters of a sense of this man is trying to just position himself to what he thinks we want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is all over the place. His defense is that he didn't know about the entrapment on January 6th. I mean, listen, I think there has obviously been a lot of political calculation behind it. What's interesting to me, actually, was the question of why Trump has decided to come out against him now. Because nothing Trump loves more is than to see somebody who is on television, who is not named Trump, who is defending Trump. So he's held his fire on him now. Part of the reasoning is, let's put this up there on the screen, Bloomberg and others quoting people inside the Trump campaign, is that Trump is pissed because according to his internals, Vivek Ramaswamy is one of the people who is keeping him from under 50%. He desperately wants to get over 50 in Iowa and then over 50 again in the state of New Hampshire to seal everything up before it even gets to South Carolina, Florida, and to Super Tuesday. The 8% of Ramaswamy, I think it's pretty unquestioning to say. It's obvious that almost all of that would be going to Trump if he wasn't in the race. The question, as we alluded to previously, Krystal, is how much does ground game and any of this matter? Vivek has put in more work than all of these other candidates, honestly, combined. Let's put this up there on the screen. As you can see, Vivek has done 239 events in 94 counties. Nikki Haley, by contrast, has done 51 events in 30 counties. Ron DeSantis, 99 events in 57 counties. And Donald Trump has only done 24 events, Krystal, in 19 counties. He didn't even show up until Iowa, till yesterday. He didn't do the traditional week-long stretch. He did much more on the ground. Now, obviously, he didn't necessarily have to do that. So if Vivek does overperform, and it's possible also that Trump's internals show a lot of that second choice stuff going on with Trump for Vivek Ramaswamy voters, that could be why he ended up attacking him. And I think really he wanted to do is undercut Vivek's permission structure of like, vote for me to save Trump. He's like,
Right.
Trump is like, just to be 100% clear, that's not what it is. You should just vote for Trump.
Yeah, to be clear, this is nonsense, basically,
Right.
which I think people will be very receptive to hearing because it's an absurd case that he's making. But if you look at this number of events in the state, based on the Seltzer poll, it is entirely possible that you end up with an inverse relationship between the number of events that were conducted in the state and the success in the state. Because Trump did the fewest events, and he's obviously in first. Nikki did the second fewest events, and according to that poll, she's in second. Ron did, the next, he did 99 events, and he's in third. And Vivek is in fourth with the most events on the board. I don't know what Asa Hutchinson has done, how many events he's done, so I'm not sure where he fits into this calculation. But I mean, that would be a pretty stunning repudiation of like our self-conception of how politics work, and especially how the Iowa caucuses work and what actually moves voters in these states.
You saw a lot of this in 2016. I can say anecdotally from speaking to people who are involved in many of the races, Trump, Rubio, Ted Cruz, and others, they all told me the same thing. They said a lot of this ground stuff, it doesn't matter at all. Now, for Cruz, it did push him over the edge, but Fox News is really what the primary was all about. All of them said that in most cases, they were better off doing Fox and Friends than they were trying to hold an event, driving 2 hours across the godforsaken state in the middle of the snow, and that they could almost always reach more people, that earned media would eventually find its way out there, and that in general, the national mood or the Fox News primary was 10, 15, 20 times more important to people's votes. Now, like I said, it can help you if it can, to push you over the edge, quote unquote, maybe 4 or 5%, something like that, in the case of Ted Cruz, but it cannot bring you from 0 to 15. And that's what Vivek is trying to do.
Basically, events at this point, campaign events, wherever they occur, Iowa, New Hampshire, whatever, they should be seen by campaigns as generating media content to be distributed through social media or to generate some moment that's going to be covered by traditional media. But, schlepping 3 hours to somewhere in Iowa to speak to 30 people, obviously that's not a great return on investment in and of itself. If you again have, Bernie Sanders did this well, if you have a campaign team, a videographer that you're pumping out your own content based on your interactions with voters, this is getting put up on various social media platforms to generate buzz and interest far outside of Iowa, yes, then that can make sense. But, these little campaign events in the diner, or in the coffee house or whatever, in and of themselves, it's just not the way the campaigns work now.
Right, exactly. I mean, but unfortunately, if let's say he underperforms, what message does that really tell us? It's like, you don't need to spend any time on the state at all. You should just be the incumbent. You should get as much earned media attention as possible in the circles or whatever that matter to you. I think that's sad, but sometimes it is what it is. We're a far cry from 2008, where Barack Obama, bet his entire case on these little Iowa towns. He spent so much time there, and had all these college students who flocked across the country. Their organizing and all of that mattered. It was like a traditional story in American politics, but the farther we are away from that, it just looks like ancient history.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.